In equal measure, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been criticized and held by Nigerians. Opinions differed about the president's first 100 days in office as Nigerians continue to demand more from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The rule of law, like many areas of the economy, has, however, not enjoyed significant improvements, with the failure to respect court orders still apparent, as seen in the cases of Godwin Emefiele and Abdurrashid Bawa. The Nigerian economy has not also fared significantly better since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office more than 3 months ago, with stringent policy changes yet to materialize into marked economic development. Now, joining me tonight on Politics HQ to discuss this is Dele Farotimi. He is a legal practitioner. And I also have Dr. Adetunji Ogunyemi, a lawyer and associate professor of economic history at the Obafemi Awolowo University, joining us from Ile-Ife in Nigeria. One welcome to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining me on Politics HQ tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for
Now, I'd like to start with Dele Farotimi in Lagos. Dele, given the significance placed on the rule of law in President Tinubu's 8-point agenda, he also mentioned it during his inaugural speech at the Eagle Square in Abuja, May 29, 2023. Could you delve into specific actions he's taken in his first 100 days to demonstrate a commitment to upholding it? And are there examples where he has showed that he's not committed to upholding this rule of law?
Well, good evening, Doc. Let me first of all make something clear. I would apologize profusely that I'm unable to engage in an analysis of the study which you will care. Because they are asking me to look at the 100 days of the man who calls himself Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this rule of law. And my own position is that everything about the president and the administration violate the rule of law. Because if the law should prove the administration never has been, because it should never have been formed in the first place. So if you are asking me to objectively evaluate whether this administration has upheld the rule of law, I will say that it existed in itself a violation of the rule of law. But now that we are all pretending that everything is normal about us and you as a government put an unquote, even though the total type of administration itself hasn't been part and parcel and an integral part of the Buhari administration, it is entitled to support to want to pretend against the rule of law and it has been taken. It should be in his own answering for whatever charges they might get to plan on him, but because we all pretend that there is a society ruled by law, we are still talking about mentioning the lack of the rule of law or whether it's been obeyed. There is a gentleman who is the younger brother of the reporter publisher. I can't remember his name right now. He's being held because Mr. Farotimi, the same detective of Toby, wrote a petition against the publishing house. So the brother becomes a collateral and then free company for 4 weeks. That alone, the young man who said that we should be effective. If somewhere in Kwara State, fully behaved, that is the government of the battle, and we are talking about the rule of law. Nothing has changed. Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the demand of that known as Bola Ahmed Tinubu have never continued the policy of illegality, class disregard for human rights. That was the motto. Nothing new has happened since the people.
Thank you very much, Dele. Now I'd like to bring in Dr. Ogunyemi and Ile-Ife into the conversation. Now, Dr. Ogunyemi, what's your assessment of the first 100 days of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office with regards to adherence to the rule of law and respect for the Constitution? How would you rate this administration so far?
Thank you for having me. I thank you very much. My feeling is that the government of President Tinubu has just settled down, and it may be too early to begin to assess him based upon the issues of rule of law.
Sorry to butt in there. Sorry to butt in there, Dr. Ogunyemi. You did hear from the last speaker. He did highlight some very distinct cases where the current administration has failed to adhere to the rule of law. So, I mean, these things happen within the first 100 days of this administration. So, are you quite confident that it's still too early to make an assessment?
I absolutely believe it is too early. But as a brief assessment, I would not say that the government has performed poorly. What I would rather say is that the time has come now with the new Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Fagbemi, for him to now begin to do a significant adjustment in the structure of our judiciary. That's number one. And then appointment of more judges to the senior benches, and a significant review in the remuneration of judicial officers. In these three areas, I think the government should do more and then firm up the system. Periods for criticism will begin to roll in 6 months after now. But for now, the government has done well.
Thank you, Dr. Ogunyemi. Back to you, Dele. Farotimi. Dele, your co-panelist, Dr. Ogunyemi, believes it's still too early to make judgment, to pass judgment on the administration's efforts, and he believes the government has done fairly well. Now, looking at examples of how President Tinubu's approach to the rule of law differs from that of his predecessor. By this time, in the first 100 days of the former administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, there were confrontations, extrajudicial killings, accusations of Shiites who protested in Abuja. There was also the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the government not respecting the court's decision to have him freed. So what impact might these differences have? And is there a clear difference between this administration, albeit an APC administration, and the last? What do you make of your co-panelist's assertion that it might still be too early to pass judgment on the Tinubu administration in its first 100 days with regards to the rule of law?
Well, Dr. Ogunyemi has the pleasure and the privileges of assisting within the four walls of the university campus. And it is the result of that phenomenon as well. And then he writes books and thesis. The reality of the matter is that you don't have to tell you that the way you know what the day will look like in the morning. I hope this is a day that will end perfectly and not extend beyond the morning. The reality of the matter is that the man has told all of us very clearly that he was here to build on the legacy of the Buhari administration. The one thing that defined the Buhari administration was impurity. Tinubu, or the man who is known as Tinubu, has not departed from that path of impurity. He was started in impurity and he has continued in impurity. So Ogunyemi might believe that we need also time in the work to come to draw this conclusion. I'm sorry, I am a much more sincere person. I've considered it, but he has also had this same tendency of fighting with me. Let me check it out. Every time I said so, it happens like that. This government will depend on Wednesday. It's already a government of impunity.
We seem to have some connection issues with Dele Farotimi. We hope to have him back. Now, Dr. Ogunyemi, our focus tonight is on the rule of law and also corruption, which are principal states, which are cardinal principles and concrete steps in which the current administration has campaigned on and have said will be the pillar of their governance in the current dispensation. Now let's talk about corruption. Dr. Ogunyemi, in terms of fighting corruption, what concrete steps has the Tinubu administration initiated or planned during the initial 100 days? And what's your assessment of it? Does it show a desire to improve on the past administration's efforts? Do you think things will get better from what you've seen so far?
I have not seen any significant. effort by the government to do the needful in the area of fighting corruption. I have not seen it. But if government decides to fight corruption, it will be significant if it goes straight ahead to strengthen the Code of Conduct Bureau. The Code of Conduct Bureau is not an ordinary creation. In fact, it is a creation by the Constitution, which is contained in the 3rd and the 5th schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as authored. So if government decides to fight corruption, the first place to start actually is the strengthening of the Code of Conduct Bureau and the Code of Conduct Tribunal. So I have not seen any significant effort of government. I think this government was actually really constituted just last week with the appointment and the induction, if you like, the swearing in of the ministers of the government of the Federation. So in the area of corruption, I don't think I can begin to say anything with certainty that the government has shown a vista to do better. We can only hope that the government does better.
Thank you, Dr. Ogunyemi. Dele, just want to confirm if you are there. Can you hear me, sir?
I can.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear anything, Dr. Ogunyemi.
Apologies for that. Now, Dele, given the historical context of promises made by past administrations, I mean, there's a huge trust deficit between the governed and those in the Federal Capital Territory, the government. Using this as a background, what measures, if any, have you seen that the President Tinubu administration has put in place to ensure that his commitment to the rule of law and anti-corruption efforts remain steadfast through his tenure? Or do you think they're just nice sound bites? And what are your expectations from this administration with regards to commitment to rule of law and anti-corruption?
Look, I'm trying to accept the given as they're asking the question. You have the fox guarding the hen house. Often you are assurances that the country is safe. And then he has appointed the lady of Matthew, which gives the utility up and down the place. He has appointed that for second president. And then he has all kind of monkeys all over the place. You don't think people who are from years today, practice cases something like ESP. And everything is so manner of criminal. And I don't want anything. Anything I don't know is already announced. And I don't say about rule of law and anti-corruption. You really want me to tell you your eyes and speak like I intend or not make it tonight. Look, our situation is dire. We are in a situation where Nigeria has been captured by criminal gangs, and we are pretending that our situation is normal. That is why they are talking about the rule of law. This from outside look at us and I'm sure they must be the freedom of truth. We are looking at the people in government in Nigeria, people who fire. What they have, if they are taxed, they want to be taxed. We hear everything, state government meant to be common now. We can't be having this conversation. We would have to be stupid, deliberately and intentionally ignorant to believe that nobody is capable of fighting corruption or holding the rule of law. That's what you are demanding of us. I'm not saying that this man is totally incapable of getting out of those things. Forget about it.
Thank you very much, Dele Farotimi. Dr. Ogunyemi, as we wrap up tonight's Politics HQ, looking ahead, what do you believe should be the foremost priorities and what sort of challenges do you think the Tinubu administration would encounter while focusing on ways to enhance the rule of law and the fight against corruption in Nigeria? Dr. Ogunyemi.
I think the area of challenges will be in the tolerance. I mean, the area of tolerance, tolerating opposition, tolerating criticism, especially criticisms by those who may not be seized, may not be properly informed about the actual workings of government, but who are more vociferous in criticizing the government to no avail. The truth of the matter is that governance is different from campaigning and pre-election promises. When you get into governance, you are most likely to see the reality on the ground. And the realities of the Nigerian situation is more dire than where anybody can previously have promised. We have real economic and financial challenges in this country. And so I think the government should concentrate on those ones. And then the area of rule of law, do a significant rejigging of the Nigerian judiciary, invest more in human capital in that area, and make it compulsory that the minimum qualification for a judge this time around in terms of his court is that he must at least be computer literate and have the capacity to key into modern ICT. The practice of judges taking down their records by hand, I mean, in long hands, is long overdue for change. I think there should be significant changes in those areas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adetunji Ogunyemi, lawyer and associate professor of economic history at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, and also Dele Farotimi, legal practitioner. It was an absolute pleasure having you both join me tonight on Politics HQ to discuss this subject. Thank you. That's where we draw the curtains in today's edition of Politics HQ. It was a pleasure doing this with you. I'm Gbenga. See you tomorrow for another edition of Politics HQ.